This is the Good Government Show.
A lot of people's changed their lives and turned their lives around because of Appalachian Botanical. So that's my biggest, I'm one of their biggest supporters as far as bragging on them, getting out in the public and saying this is what these people has done for a lot of the people that lost hope, that didn't have any hope. Now they have jobs. They're an inspiration to the state, not just the county. I mean, what they've done with nothing, and started out basically with nothing and dirt and rock and the buildings they actually are still, putting together. They're an inspiration for anyone. Anybody says they can't do something or they don't have the money, they need to go talk to them. I promise you they can say, hey, this is what we started with. This is how we accumulated money. And I'm a big cheerleader of them.
That's Craig Bratcher, a Boone County, West Virginia County Commissioner. He's talking about a company that created a lavender farm where there used to be a mountain. Then there was a coal field. Now the mountain's gone, the coal is gone, and now it's just acres of purple lavender fields. Welcome to the Good Government Show. I'm Dave Martin.
And I'm Carol DiOria. Where are you off to?
I am off to Boone County in West Virginia.
Right. A lavender farm where a coal mine was. I don't know about this. I like the story, but you got more out of West Virginia than I thought.
I did. I spent a week in West Virginia, and I'm going to tell you about two really impressive programs. They're putting West Virginians to work, and it shows that there's really life after coal. And the next episode, you're going to hear about how teachers are the future in McDowell County, both for them, their students, and also for the town. But today, on this episode, we're going to talk about lavender farms.
Well, good. I like lavender. It smells really nice. So we have a farm that was once a coal mine and a mountain. How did that work?
Here's how it happens. And I am not a mining engineer. We don't have one close by, so I will fill in. So to get the coal that was in the mountains, the mining companies decided that it would be easier and cost less and, believe it or not, somewhat safer. They'll just blow up the mountain.
I can't imagine changing the landscape like that.
Yeah, they're just going to blow up the mountain.
Mother Nature can't be happy.
No. And they're going to just take the coal off the top instead of mining for it down below. Now, obviously, huge environmental problems. And in fact, I saw one study that said some 500 mountains in all of Appalachia.
Oh my goodness.
500 have been removed this way. And the mining companies, they're supposed to return to what's called original contours.
Yeah, but do they really?
Nah, they really don't. But, they stack it up and there's a process that you go through to sort of recreate a mountain. But if you can improve the site, well, that's acceptable too.
So a farm works? No more strip coal mining, just farming?
Basically, yes. This is an example of good government thinking ahead, and they're working with all levels of government and with private enterprise, and they're reclaiming the land, they're providing jobs, and they're rebuilding an economic base in an area that really needs it.
And this is coal country, right? You're telling me?
Right. And Boone County was one of the state's largest coal-producing counties. They mined millions of tons of coal. The county coffers were full, and the times were good.
Yeah, but then all that changed.
Yes. And I can't say it's all sunshine and roses, but there is purple lavender and a lavender farm. And jobs, and reclaimed land, and a company dedicated to improving coal country and economic development.
That sounds good because this is a really depressed area, but it sounds like things are really heading in the right direction. But tell me how West Virginia got there.
It's all coal. Coal is and was. It's the driving force in the state of West Virginia, especially in this part of the state. In fact, this year, Boone hosts the 27th annual West Virginia Coal Festival.
They're still at it.
Right. They have a whole coal festival. In front of the county courthouse. I was at the county courthouse, and the biggest thing you can see out in front is a coal miner's statue. It's dedicated to coal mining. So there were some officials, they knew that coal wasn't going to come back, but for many, many people, they're still waiting for those coal jobs.
Wow.
Right. And I sat down at a place called the Little Cafe. It's in Madison, which is the county seat for Boone County. It's right next to the courthouse. And it's actually the only restaurant in town that's not a fast food joint. And by the way, it's owned by a guy named Mike Little, who is not little. And wait for it, he's from Brooklyn.
Oh, you're kidding. Really? From Brooklyn to West Virginia?
Yes. He met a girl named Tanya Hatfield. And yes, she's a descendant of one of those Hatfields. She was from Boone, and together they opened a restaurant. And the food was actually very good, and all the desserts were homemade.
I could get into that.
Sure. Well, you'd have to, because if you're going to live
It's
there,
the only place.
It's the only place in town, right? So anyway, Craig Bratcher, who we heard from, he's the county commissioner. He explained how the shrinking coal industry, it affects everything.
Out of all the counties that produce coal, all southern counties, it was probably in the top 5 as far as national level. We was considered the richest county in definitely in West Virginia. We had coal severance taxes that would come in from the coal that was taken out of West Virginia or out of the ground. Kept us afloat. We was able to do a lot of things with the money that we would get. We've put a lot of money into fields, football fields, and helped the schools out tremendously. But now Boone County, since the coal mines has basically pretty much all shut down, it's really taken a big hit hit on us. Hit on the people. A lot of people has moved because I hate to say it, but it's a culture, and Boone County is known for the coal mines and coal miners. And when there's no coal mines, a lot of the coal miners that are good workers, they move. They move out of state and find other jobs.
So what is going on in Boone right now?
Well, there's a new cafe, a little cafe. There are a few small offices. The courthouse is obviously very busy. There's homes. Some are abandoned. There's churches. There's a gas station. And I even drove up a holler.
Oh, holler? What did you say? Holler? What is that?
Well, listen, you Yankee. I went to a holler. There's lots of hollers. I did.
I can't see you down in a holler.
I never said holler before I went to West Virginia, and now I think I'm using it correctly. I'm sure my West Virginia friends will tell me.
But so what is a holler? Like you're yelling at somebody?
No.
Oh, it's a place?
No, it's a holler. So basically, it's a valley between the hills and the mountains. It's a street, mostly not paved. There's houses and trailers that are built up on either side, and they sort of face the road. And behind them is the woods and the hills. And these are the hollers. Some are quite large and extensive. Some are a little bit more developed. Some have names, some don't. And basically, that's a holler. Now, Loretta Lynn, coal miner's daughter.
Right.
I was born in Butcher Holler. So there you go.
Oh,
that's
okay.
a holler.
Now it makes sense.
Now you know it. Now you know what a holler is. All right, good. And in fact, I took some photos. If you go to our website, goodgovernmentshow.com, you can see some pictures I took while I was on my trip in Boone County, and you can check out a holler. But anyway, as a result of all this, the homes and the hollers, coal's gone. They're not what they used to be.
Yeah, how could they be? There's so many abandoned ones.
Well, it could. And there are some abandoned ones, but there are people who are doing something. And slowly the wheels are moving. I met a woman named Chris Mitchell, and she's the County Economic Development Officer, and she offered her perspective on the situation in Boone.
We're a small county. For years, our primary industry here was coal. And within about a 5-year period, we lost 5,000 direct employment jobs for coal. People don't realize that while 5,000 direct employment jobs sounds like quite a lot, there's all of the sort of trickle down of that. The small companies we had, such as machine shops, welding shops, mine supply businesses, those can't sustain without the mining industry as well. So all of those closed. So it was a massive impact on the economy.
I see. It's sort of an entire trickle-down problem, it sounds like.
Exactly. It affects the value of your house, if you can even sell it. And if there are no jobs, folks aren't buying cars. They're not buying houses. They're not going out to eat. They're not going to the movies. They're certainly not buying big-ticket items. So coal jobs go away, and so do lots of other jobs.
All because of coal.
Right. And here's what happened in Boone County, and this happened to a lot of counties, but I'll tell you about Boone. Every county that extracts coal pays a severance tax, and that's a percentage of the value of the coal they remove. In 2008, Boone was one of the richest counties in the state. They took in some $8 million a year in tax. In 2021, $400,000.
Oh, that's a huge hit.
Right. And that all comes out of the county budget. That's money that covers schools, that covers roads, that covers police, that covers social services.
But how can you ever make that up? That's a big chunk.
Realistically, they can't. But they can try to come close. And in small ways and with smart future planning, they can change their direction.
And so enter the Lavender Farms.
Yes, it's a start. And the hero of our Lavender Farm story is Jocelyn Shepard. And she created a company called Appalachian Botanical. She was working with the Appalachian Regional Commission to try to create projects that would improve conditions in the region. And that's where she went up with Marina Sawyer, and she's the company's chief technology officer, and she's their head farmer. She's the one who figured out that lavender would grow well in coal fields.
Yeah, but why lavender?
Well, it turns out that lavender really grows well in rocky soil. So it's perfect because, coal fields. It doesn't require a lot of water, and it's profitable. Did you know most lavender is imported? So they're actually creating a product that has some demand.
Wow, that's big if they can produce a product here and not have to import. Were there any challenges to getting this project off the ground?
Of course there were challenges, a lot of challenges. They had to find the money. They had to get workers, and they had to get folks out of a coal mindset. But as Marina explains, there was just an overall perception about West Virginia.
West Virginia was looked at as, oh, we're backwards, we're, hillbillies kind of thing. And projects like this and the Hatfield and McCoy thing, they're really starting to get people to say, there's somebody to go see. And that's important.
Okay, so I've heard of the Hatfield and McCoys, but I guess I don't really know the story. So I'm sure at this point, you went to West Virginia, you know the Hatfield and McCoy story.
I knew about it before I went, but I actually got to see the sites I've read about and heard about. Okay, so thanks for the opening. All right. The only reason why we're getting into this is because this is Hatfield and McCoy country. So I'm going to try to be brief. Stop me if I go off on a tangent, please.
You get off on a tangent, never.
All right. So there was this guy named Devil Anse Hatfield, and he was the head of the Hatfield family. He was a Confederate Civil War veteran. At the time, a lot of bad blood, West Virginia, Kentucky, one side Union, one side Confederate. Anyway, he and a cousin, they killed a McCoy family member.
There
he was
you
a Union
go.
veteran, right. So that annoyed the head of the McCoy family, good old Randall McCoy. And then the McCoys lost a court case for stealing a pig.
What? A pig? Seriously?
Pigs were very important. They kept you fed all winter. So yes, pig was a big deal. That case, that really got, tensions really grew after that. And then one of the Hatfield boys married a McCoy girl and they had a baby.
Could not have gone over well.
No, it did not, Romeo and Juliet in the mountains. The marriage went bad. Jonesy Hatfield was apparently not a very good husband. They had a baby. The baby died. And in fact, I went to the baby's gravesite and said a few words for the baby. It's high up on the hill. There are pictures. Go to the website. And then in 1882, 3 McCoys were dragged across the Tug River from West Virginia into Kentucky, and they were killed and tied up to a pawpaw tree.
Did you say pawpaw tree? Really?
Yes, that is the famous pawpaw tree incident. I went to that site too. You just drive through Matewan, take a left, and you can't miss it.
Yeah, of course.
It's right on the other side of the Tug River. Anyway, I went there. But then it got even uglier in 1888, New Year's Day. A bunch of Hatfields went to the McCoy house. They burned it. They nearly killed.
This is going on for years.
Oh, yeah,
This is like generational.
Yeah, exactly. But they nearly killed Randall McCoy's wife. There were some kids in the house. So the cabin is gone, but the well that Randall McCoy dug, that's still there because I know this because I went to the house.
Right.
And guy who owns the property, great guy. We sat there, we chatted. He walked me around, showed me around the whole site. But here's the funny part. Down the street, now we're in Kentucky, down the street is the McCoy family gravesite, but it's actually owned by Hatfield and he won't open to the public.
That's hard. This is a story that's hard to keep track of. Who hates whom?
Now they've all signed a peace treaty. They're all friends. But this did go on for like 50 years and it's still talked about. It's the local heritage. And in fact, it draws tourists. I mean, I went down.
This is what you call turning a negative into a positive.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I went to the Hatfield family gravesite. And while I was at the site, I met some folks. It's right next door to Devil Anse's last home, which is where Jack Hatfield now lives. I think Jack Hatfield Jr. And he created a Hatfield and McCoy museum. So tourism is a business opportunity that they're using to bring back folks to West Virginia. And out of all that came the Hatfield and McCoy trails.
So did you go on the trail?
Not really. I didn't have an ATV with me, but what it is it's a network of ATV trails and lots of folks, they load up their ATVs on the weekend. They go out in the mountains and they follow the Hatfield and McCoy sites and, cruise through, what is still very, very rural West Virginia. And like I said, when I was at the Hatfield Cemetery, a group of folks on an ATV, they stopped in, we all chatted, we walked around the cemetery together and had a great time. They were loving it. They were on their ATVs and they were, checking out the neighborhood.
And nobody's bothered that there's no more coal, but now they have a lavender farm.
Right, exactly. So I'm going to tell you more. We're going to wait after the break.
The Good Government Show is sponsored by Liquid. Welcome back to Season 2, Liquid.
And we still love Liquid. And not just because they are a sponsor again. But Carol, here's a fun fact. A recent study found that over 80% of retail shoppers conduct online research before making a purchase. Do you do that?
Well, yeah, I do it when I know what I'm buying. Like, for instance, we needed some bug spray for the backyard. We were having a party. But we have dogs, so I didn't want anything toxic for the dogs. So I had to run down a lot of products online.
So you did your research.
I did.
All right, good. And if you're in a business, you really have to do your research because you really want to evaluate who you're working with and making sure the company you are about to partner with, you want to make sure it's a good fit.
Well, that makes sense. So you want to stand out to other companies that are checking your company out.
Exactly. And that's where Liquid comes in. They can help your business create a digital presence with impact so you can be impressive to new businesses and keep your customers.
And it's not just about a website. See how much I've learned about Liquid since the first season?
You're Liquid aware. Good for you. Right. So they can guide you where to advertise, make sure your social media is relevant, and it engages your customers. They want to make sure your digital story answers your potential customers' questions before they even have to ask them.
And that's what Liquid is good at, creating a full marketing and online digital presence.
Liquid's been around for nearly 2 decades. They have a lot of experience and a lot of research to back up their plans.
And they have a team of designers, marketers, strategists, and developers. They can help companies in many industries with award-winning creative campaigns, content, and websites.
All good reasons to have Liquid plan your next digital marketing strategy. So check them out and talk to a Liquid professional. Visit them at www.liquidint.com. That's www.liquidint.com.
And you will love Liquid as much as we do.
Because they're our sponsor. We love Liquid. We want to welcome back as a sponsor to the Good Government Show, Kutztown University of Kutztown, Pennsylvania.
And you want to talk about their rugby team.
Well, they do have a good rugby team. They just won a national tournament. And what I did was I called a friend. His daughter played at Kutztown. She played on the rugby team. And I asked him, what did he like best about Kutztown?
You mean besides the rugby team?
Well, yeah, besides the team, obviously the team first. But he responded immediately and said something I didn't know. His favorite thing is the chicken tower, or it's also called the Angry Chicken.
What? I hesitate to ask. The Angry Chicken?
Well, it's such a landmark that it's actually the school's logo. It's a clock tower, and apparently when you look from a special angle, the clock looks a little bit like a chicken with an open beak. So It's the Angry Chicken.
Okay, then. Well, let's talk about the other stuff, like that their degree program in music business is now nationally accredited. They offer undergraduate certificates in cybersecurity and technical writing.
So is this what we do? Is this technical writing?
Oh, no. Take a class and maybe get better at writing.
Oh, come on. That's not fair. You know what? You would benefit from the new graduate certificate program and be a school social worker. Maybe you'd be nicer.
All right. Well, the point is Kutztown is a forward-looking university. They also offer Pell Promise scholarships. And for students who qualify, student tuitions and fees are all covered.
And that's just some of why we like Kutztown and are happy to be associated with this university. Oh, and my friend thought it was really cool that sometimes the locals, they ride through in a horse and buggy. So check out Kutztown University. That's Kutztown University, and cheer on their rugby team.
Of course.
Yes, please. The Good Government Show welcomes a new sponsor for season 2, and that's NACO, and that's the National Association of Counties. Carol, did you know that county government affects more people than any other form of government?
Well, I do now. Funny, you would think city or the federal government is bigger.
Well, right, but it's not. You think about this. Roads, highways, hospitals, schools, recycling, law enforcement, water, sewers. In most of the country, those services are maintained by the county. That's county government.
And we want to see good county government, and that's where NACO comes in.
Exactly. They're a nationwide organization that represents all 3,069 counties across the USA.
Now, that's a lot of support and, more importantly, brain power.
Exactly. And they have many organizations and committees, and they do things like share best practices, and they work together on national issues.
And they are urban, suburban, and rural counties that have different challenges, but they can still work together.
Yes, they all work together. So NACO helps county government work better. And as we see in this and other episodes, when county government works, well, that's just good government.
So thanks, NACO, for providing us with great stories and helping support good government.
And thanks, NACO, for supporting the Good Government Show. And remember, citizens, don't forget to vote. Welcome back to the Good Government Show. And on this episode, we're talking about how a lavender farm was created out of an abandoned coal field in Boone County in West Virginia.
Okay, so tell me about this farm.
All right, so let's go back to West Virginia. I recorded this for you when I was actually at the lavender farm.
Well, that was nice of you.
I was thinking of you, so give it a listen. All right, Carol, since you can't be here, I'm going to describe for you where I am. I'm at what used to be the Ravencrest mine. I'm sort of standing in the middle of a giant bowl. I'm surrounded by mountains, but they're actually reclaimed mountains, which means that they were blasted and then built back up as far as I can see. As far as I can see. You know, taking a giant circle around here, there's mining trails, there's bowls, there's flatlands,
and what used to be giant mountains are no longer here. It's pretty amazing to be right in the middle of what used to be a mine, and now is a lavender farm.
That is really pretty amazing. So you went walking through the lavender.
Yes, I walked the farm with Jocelyn, and it's pretty incredible. The lavender grows in rocky soil. So really, it's ideal for a site. They pulled coal from the ground, and now it's a lavender farm. But I'm going to have Jocelyn talk to you about what we walked through.
We are on a 2,000-acre site. The manager from the mining company estimated about 170 acres might be usable for us. Now, at this point, after 3 years, we're at about 55 acres. We have plans to expand to the entire 170. I don't know. There's that old expression, don't try to eat anything larger than your head. And that's what that feels like. But we do have plans to plant more acres this year.
What am I seeing here?
You are seeing upwards of 40,000 plants that have been planted over the last 3 years. They are on very nice, fairly flat terrain, and we're surrounded by hills, some of which were put back together by the coal mining company when they were in their reclamation phase.
Okay, so you have acres of farmland, but where does the government come into all of this?
Well, lots of places. First, there were the grants, the funding grants from different government agencies to get them started, including the Abandoned Mines Grant. And they recently got an infusion of about $1.6 million, so they're expanding.
Wow, it must have a big impact on everything in that area. 1.6 mil?
Right, it does. And Chris has been helping them move forward, and she sees the impact of lavender.
It is a huge economic impact. Not only is this an established business and growing business that is paying taxes and doing all the things that a business typically does, but they're also employing people, offering them a second chance, which puts them into the workforce. They're earning funds. They are now individuals who can make purchases. They can buy groceries. They can do other things, which will also boost the economy.
As much as they can, Appalachian Botanical buys local. They need a new shovel or they need new tools. They head to Danville and go to Burnside Hardware. That's where I met Fred Burnside. He's one of the town's larger employers, and he appreciates what Appalachian Botanical has meant to him, his business, and the people.
There is not the business that there once was in Boone County. I've been here since 1978, and I've seen a lot of things come and go. Coal business is gone. Hopefully, people like Appalachian Botanical are going to make up some of that difference and keep the people of Boone County working.
Okay, so tell me about the people, the ones who work there, and what do they think about being lavender farmers?
Good question. Miners to farmers. Well, one guy I met said he would still go into the mines if he could, but he is very happy down at the farm.
Okay, so let's meet a miner turned farmer, which sounds so odd, but go ahead.
My name is Aubrey Aaron Morgan, and we are here in Ashford, West Virginia at the Lavender Farm for Appalachian Botanical, and I am over charge of the maintenance department. I was a miner for 12 years for Patriot Coal, and I ran a miner, continuous miner.
What's a continuous miner?
Continuous miner is a machine that it digs the coal out of the face.
So you were at the front of the hole.
I was the front of the line. Yeah, sure was.
What's that like?
It's exciting. I mean, it's a rush. It's fun. Scary at the same time. I loved it. I mean, it's just the people. I mean, you get used to the people, and I mean, once you get over top of over the fear part of it, you love it. It's just a different environment. And the money is the best thing about it. You run a piece of equipment on the face, you're making $25-30 an hour. I mean, right off the bat.
So how is adjusting to being a lavender farmer going?
Pretty well. Listen.
There ain't no jobs around here. There's a gas station above the hill. That's about it. That's the closest job before you go to Charleston. And that's 45 minutes away.
So this is a good job.
Oh, yeah. Excellent job, yeah.
So let me introduce you to Tyler Stevenson. He's a former miner, too, and he was the scoop operator, which means he hauled equipment in and out of the mine. And I'm going to have him tell you what it's like to work underground.
Exhilarating. It's different than here. Every day you could be your last minute. I've seen rocks fall and
That's scary.
Yeah, it's scary, yeah. I mean, but you get used to it after a little while. A month or so in, you don't even think about it anymore.
So is it better to be above ground working?
Yes, absolutely. The pay's not as good, but it's a lot safer, it's a lot better, yeah.
So how is he dealing with this change to becoming a farmer?
Hey, the guy's happy to have a job.
This is the only good paying job. I mean, there's the coal mines that still operates here that we work on their, land, and other than that's gas stations or McDonald's or this or that. So this is the only good job in this community.
But here's what else Appalachian Botanical is doing. They have teamed with the Boone County Sheriff's Office to hire workers who've just been through the criminal justice system and need a helping hand. For Sheriff Chad Baker, the program is a success.
The folks we've referred to them, majority of those people have seen success. I think the program is working out well for us. We're always happy, to partner with people in the community, especially when someone reaches out and they want to help, your people, to give them a job and put them back to work. That's one of the key components, I feel, is getting people who have addiction issues, in a lot of cases, is get them back into the workforce to make them productive members of society. So with this program, we're able to do that.
Jean Erie is the office manager for Appalachian Botanical, but she does so much more. And she brought her daughter up there to work with her at the farm, and she says she really likes it, and she likes getting into the ground. She calls it dirt therapy.
Oh,
but
wow.
Right. So she likes to go out there and get her hands dirty, but she really is the point person for a lot of the new workers coming into the farm.
A lot of them has adapted very well. They come into us, which we have people that will help. We have people that come in help if they need some type of counseling and help. We help find housing. We help get food if they're needing the food. Find some housing projects. There's different housings in the community that will help find housing for them. Just everyday needs, whatever they need, I'll try to reach out and find somebody to help them.
This just really continues to be quite impressive, this program they have going.
So, Carol, here's your present from Coal Country, Appalachian Botanical Lavender Lotion. There you go. Try it out.
Wow. It really smells good. So this is from the farm.
Yes. This is one of the many products they make from the Lavender Farm. They have oil. They have beard wash.
Beard wash?
Yes, beard wash. I didn't try it out, but they have it. They have a lavender mist. They have oils. They make CBD products, and they're starting a beekeeping farm.
Oh, really?
Yep. They have lots to do up there. So go to goodgovernmentshow.com. We have a link to their page. And so, Carol, what do you think?
I really like it. It has a stronger smell than I realized it would. Wow. It's much better than I thought it would be.
Well, there you go. That's your gift from Appalachian Botanical in West Virginia.
Well, that's very nice. I think I actually need to do some online shopping. I could get some Christmas presents. So there really is a future in Appalachia?
I thought, yes, there is. And this is based on the people I talked to. And I think this generation right now, the kids that are coming up, the 18, 19, 17-year-olds, they aren't automatically thinking about working in the mines and working in coal. And I think once that generation grows up, the total reliance on coal will diminish. So I think with innovations like Lavender Farm and creating opportunities for local folks, turning coal mines into solar farms, teaching programs, all of that puts this region on a different path.
Right. And that's reassuring that they don't have to pine over losing coal, that they're really going in a different direction.
Right. And don't forget about tourism. West Virginia has beautiful lakes and mountains, and the governments are, open to new ideas, and they're searching for ways to build up what they have left. The ATV trails, the Hatfield and McCoy trails, hiking trails, other outdoor activities.
So it makes a great vacation spot.
It does make a great vacation spot. And in fact, next season, I'm going back to West Virginia.
No, really? All right. The nation's newest park is in West Virginia, and that has a huge impact on the region, and it's really expected to grow. So here's the question. Are we both going to be live from Boone County?
Well, maybe we'll be live from Beckley. That's a bit more of a town, and it's pretty close to the new River Gorge. That's the new park.
Okay, so Lavender is leading the way.
Yes, Lavender is leading the way. But let me have Jocelyn give you the last word on the story.
I couldn't have imagined all the ups and downs and the ins and outs. I knew there'd be some, and we've had those. And every once in a while, I'm just kind of gobsmacked by the whole thing. To have people, local workers recruited to work here, have plants go into the ground and survive and thrive, to be able to distill the oil, make product, make it, and have them be very high quality products, and be able to ship orders now to all 50 states and to more than 45 retailers in 8 different states. It's like there are days where I say, pinch me, I don't believe this is happening.
It is really quite impressive. And this is a story I just didn't even know about. Lavender farms out of coal fields. Mountains removed and reclaimed. Something useful develops. A depressed region trying to bounce back. This is why we tell these stories.
Right. This shows how someone working in government came up with a better way. And the effects might just change an entire region. It's brought jobs and, more importantly, change and hope to a region that desperately needs it. And that's good government.
And that's our show. Thanks for listening. The next episode, we are going back to West Virginia, yes?
Yes. I'm going to tell you about a program called Reconnecting McDowell. I went to the poorest county in West Virginia, and I saw a town that is struggling. But with help, they're providing a path for good careers and helping both students and teachers. And as a result, it's improving the entire region.
That really sounds good.
Just you wait. You're going to hear it next episode. Until then, go to our website, check out thegoodgovernment.com, and we have photos of all the people we've met and the places we've talked about. You can see the farm.
It's really impressive.
It is. It was a lot of fun, and everybody I met there was great. It was a really, really interesting time out there. I'd never been to a strip mine coal farm, and now I have. So, glad you enjoyed our first trip to West Virginia.
Yes.
I'm David Martin.
And I'm Carol D'Oria.
Thanks for listening to The Good Government Show. See you next episode. Don't forget to follow The Good Government Show on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss any of the great stories we tell. Join our community on Facebook and be part of the conversation. Join our discussion on Twitter. If you like our show, tell your friends to listen too. For more extras on the show, check out our website, goodgovernmentshow.com. The Good Government Show is produced by Valley Park Productions. Jim Ludlow, David Martin, and David Snyder are the executive producers. Jason Stershic is our producer and editor. Some transcriptions were done by Kofi, Ampah. Our hosts are me, David Martin, and Carol D'Oria. Join us again for The Good Government Show wherever you listen to podcasts.